sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so get this. We're going deep today, really deep, into one of those historical mysteries that just won't go away. The JFK assassination, it's, 2025 now, over 60 years have gone by, and we're still finding out new stuff. Like just recently, President Trump signed an executive order to declassify, get this, the remaining JFK files. And not just those. We're talking files about the assassinations of Robert F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. That's a lot of history to unpack, right?
It really is. It's incredible how these events, even after all these years, still kind of grab us, you know? I think it says a lot about how much they changed America and all the unanswered questions that still hang over them. What's really interesting about these new files is that we already have like 97% of the JFK files out there. So what could be in that last little bit, that 3% they've kept hidden all this time?
It's like finding a secret compartment in an old piece of furniture. You just got to know what's in there. But before we get lost in all those classified documents, maybe we should take a step back, make sure we're all on the same page. Remind us, what were the basics of the assassination again?
Okay, so picture this. November 22nd, 1963. A date that's, well, burned into history. President Kennedy's riding in a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. When shots ring out, he's hit, fatally wounded, and at just 46 years old. His presidency, his life, it's all tragically cut short.
And then the Warren Commission, they come out and say Lee Harvey Oswald did it, acting alone.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Just 2 days later, Oswald's killed before he can even stand trial. And that's where things start to get, well, a little fuzzy.
Because no trial means no chance for everyone to see the evidence, no chance to question things, to look at other possibilities. It leaves this big empty space, right? And that's when the speculation starts running wild. Makes you wonder, is it possible the Warren Commission got it wrong?
That's the question, isn't it? It's the question that's been bugging historians and conspiracy theorists for, well, decades. This lack of a real ending, Oswald dying so quickly, it just breeds doubt, It makes those classified files even more, well, tempting. What could they tell us about Oswald, his reasons, his connections, maybe even other people who were involved?
Now, we don't know exactly what's in these files, right? But we do know that both Trump and Biden, they released thousands of JFK documents before. So what makes these files so special? Why the way?
That's the big question, the million-dollar question. What's so sensitive about these documents that they've been locked away for decades? Some people say it's national security. Others say it's about protecting informants. But there's another layer to this whole thing. Why now? What's the motivation for releasing them now?
Well, President Trump said it was all about transparency and accountability, which on the surface sounds pretty reasonable. He even promised to release the files back during his inauguration speech.
He did, yes. But here's the interesting part. During his first term, he actually delayed releasing some of these same files. And the reason? National security.
Okay. That's a little fishy. Makes me wonder if there's some kind of political game going on here.
It's definitely a question worth asking. We have to remember, this isn't happening out of the blue. It's part of a whole legal process. Back in 1992, they passed the JFK Records Act, which said all the JFK files had to be released by 2017.
So this has been a long time coming, years of delays, everyone waiting with bated breath. And now finally in 2025, we're seeing some action. Do you think this is really it, the end of the secrecy? Or could there be more delays?
Well, the act does say they can postpone things if they think national security is at risk. So, yeah, more delays are possible.
Yeah.
Frustrating as that is. It's funny, isn't it? Every time they release more documents, it feels like we end up with more questions than answers.
Yeah, it's like you're putting together a puzzle, but then you realize the picture's way bigger.
Yeah.
And more complicated than you thought.
Exactly. And that's where all the conspiracy theories come in, trying to, fill in the blanks, even if they have to stretch things a little.
Oh, yeah, the theories. We've got the mafia, the CIA, even Fidel Castro gets thrown in there sometimes. And then there's the second shooter, or that magic bullet thing. Where do we even start with all that?
Well, we could start by acknowledging that a lot of these theories, as captivating as they are, they've been debunked, by experts, I mean.
Right. But that doesn't stop people from talking about them, does it?
Not at all. They stick around, They capture the imagination.
They do.
Conspiracy theories, I think. They play on this mistrust of authority, the idea that things aren't what they seem, especially with something as traumatic as, well, a presidential assassination. People want an explanation. They want to make sense of a world that suddenly feels, I don't know, out of control.
Like we need to believe that someone planned it. even if it means blaming like shadowy figures and crazy plots. But is there anything in the files they have released that gives any weight to these theories?
There have been some interesting bits and pieces, but nothing, concrete enough to overturn what the Warren Commission said. But who knows, maybe these new files will have something different.
Okay, but let's say, hypothetically, one of these wild theories turns out to be true. What then? How does that change how we see history, the government, everything?
Whoa, that would be huge. Think about it. What if there's proof that people in the government or even foreign governments were involved in a conspiracy? We'd have to re-examine, the whole 20th century, question who's really in charge, how power actually works.
It's almost, unthinkable to think everything we thought we knew about such a big event could be wrong. We're talking about JFK here, his presidency, his assassination. It changed so much about America.
Absolutely. But history's full of these moments where new discoveries force us to see the past in a whole new light. Maybe this release will be one of those moments.
Okay, so maybe these files won't reveal some massive conspiracy, but they could still give us a better understanding of, the political scene in the 60s, the people involved, the whole context of the assassination.
Exactly. Even things that seem boring at first, like memos, letters, reports, they can give us a glimpse into what people were thinking back then. And by understanding the context, we get a better grasp of how complex the past really was and how it shapes the world we live in today.
It really is like putting together a giant puzzle.
Yeah.
Every document, every little piece of information helps us build a more complete picture.
That's a good way to put it. And sometimes the most interesting discoveries aren't the ones that give us all the answers. It's the ones that deepen the mystery, that make us question things and dig deeper.
So while we're waiting for these files, what are you hoping to see in them?
I'm not really looking for a smoking gun or proof of any one theory. What I'm interested in are the details, those little things that might seem insignificant at first. But when you put them all together, they can paint a much richer picture of what led up to the assassination.
It's those little things, right? The ones that often get missed. But they can be so important. It's like finding a hidden message in a historical artifact. It might not change the whole story, but it adds another layer, another dimension.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole release so exciting. It's not just about finding answers. It's about expanding our understanding of a really important moment in history.
And let's be real, it's also a bit about the thrill of the unknown, the possibility that we might uncover something huge.
Oh, definitely. There's always that anticipation, the hope that these files will have something. That changes our perspective, makes us rethink everything.
Like opening a time capsule, a direct connection to the past, full of secrets, whispers of what might have been. But with all the intrigue and speculation, we can't forget the human side of this.
That's such an important point. It's easy to get caught up in the history and the politics, but we have to remember that a life was lost, a family was destroyed, and a whole nation was left in shock. John F. Kennedy was a man with his own hopes and dreams, a vision for the future, and that future was taken away.
And we still feel the impact of that loss today. It's there in how we see the presidency, our relationship with the government, and even this fascination with the assassination itself.
It was a turning point, one that continues to shape America.
And now, with these files being released, we have a chance to dig even deeper, to explore all the layers, and maybe, just maybe, understand its impact a little better. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the JFK files, all the conspiracy theories, the history, the whole 9 yards. But before we finish up, I want to kind of shift gears for a minute and bring it back to you, the listener. We've covered the historical stuff, the political drama, but why should you care about what might be in these old files?
That's a great question. Because history, it's not just a bunch of dates and names in a textbook. It's a story, a living story that shapes how we see the world, even ourselves. And these JFK files, whatever they show us, they give us a look into this huge moment in American history.
Yeah, for a lot of people, the JFK assassination, it feels almost like a myth, right? Wrapped up in secrets and speculation. It's hard to know what's real and what's not. Do you think these files can, cut through all that?
Yeah.
And get us closer to the truth?
It's possible, yeah. But even if they don't give us all the answers, they can still tell us a lot about why people did what they did, the political scene back then, the things that led up to this tragedy.
Understanding the why, right? It's like the difference between reading a quick headline and really digging into a good article. The details, they make the story come alive, help you connect the dots and see the bigger picture.
Exactly. We can't just look at historical events on their own. They're all part of something bigger, a mix of social, political, economic forces. And when we understand that context, we get a better appreciation for how complicated the past really was.
So as we wait for these files to come out, what are you hoping to find? What questions do you want answered? What mysteries are you hoping to solve?
For me, it's not about proving any one theory right or wrong. I'm more interested in those little details, the things that might seem small at first. But they can shed light on a moment in time, help us understand why someone did something. It's those little things that make history feel real.
I get it. It's those details that often get overlooked. But they can completely change how we see things. They make history more, human.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting. It's not just about the answers. It's about learning more, understanding more, about a really important moment in American history.
It's a chance to, connect with the past, challenge our assumptions, and maybe learn some lessons along the way.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe these files will have something totally unexpected, something that makes us rethink everything we thought we knew.
One thing's for sure. The release of these files reminds us that history is never really over. It's always evolving, changing.
It's like a conversation between the past and the present. And these files, they're adding new voices to that conversation.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the JFK files, I want to leave you with this. What if the most important things we learn aren't the things that confirm what we already believe, but the things that challenge us, make us uncomfortable? Are we ready to face those truths, to let them change how we see the past?
That's a powerful question. I think that's what real historical inquiry is all about. Being open to complexity, challenging our assumptions, and letting the past guide us in the present.
Well said. And for those of you who can't wait to dig into these files yourselves, remember they're coming soon. So keep thinking critically, stay curious, and keep questioning everything. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep the conversation going.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till